If you've ever wondered why we hiccup or if elephants can jump, look no further, because we welcome author Jay Ingram to this program, posing some of these questions and giving answers in a new book, which is a sequel. It's called The Science of Why 2, the second installation, and some very interesting topics, and really surprising that there is science behind all of these topics. Good morning to you. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Okay, now you were saying in your liner notes that the crucial test is the reaction that you get from friends on these questions. So
yeah.
Were there certain questions that fell flat and certain questions that were more popular?
I try and avoid the ones that fall flat,
right.
Or at least you can tell right away when people start talking about something else. But, you know, questions like, can elephants jump? It's actually quite a complicated question with no real answer because no one's ever seen it happen. But that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And so I use my friends as kind of barometers of, yeah, is this worth checking out or not? Okay,
and you do dive into the world of physics, and you had some experts that helped you consult on this book. What is the second installation sort of the remaining questions from the first book?
I don't think it could be the Science of Why 6, you know, the way it's going. I just don't think there's any end to questions. And I think it's like doing breakfast television, that you want to do the stories that people want. So what's the best way of doing that? Get them to ask you questions. Why does this happen? What is this? Then you know at least that you're writing about the stuff they're interested in.
Okay, these are some interesting questions that we're going to give you a little slice of what you can see in the book and read about in the book. The first one being, this is a bit heady, are we living in a computer simulation?
Okay, so everybody is familiar with things like The Sims and SimCity, you know, where you can set up a little kind of civilization. But everybody also knows that computers are getting way more sophisticated very quickly. So imagine 50 years from now when computers would have the computing power to create not just the studio, but the city and maybe more, and all the people in it and all the thoughts in those people's heads. Now, if you were one of those sim characters, how would you know? You don't know, because all the thoughts are being created by some kid sitting in his or her basement 50 years from now running this computer simulation. And in fact, when you think about it, it would be very difficult to figure out that it wasn't the way we think it is, that it was just a simulation.
It is a plausible scenario, and one that you also have solutions to in the book.
The best part about that is, if it's a simulation, what should we do to encourage that kid in the basement to keep it going?
Right.
Because if they get tired of it and slam the lid of their laptop or whatever you have then, it's over. So I think electing Donald Trump was actually that might be the only good thing.
Okay, should we live in a computer simulation? Maybe that is a positive thing and that it keeps life interesting, right? Okay, and on to another section, and this is exploring various bodily functions and picking the right urinal, a very important question to ask. There's a lot of science behind this question, actually.
There's a ton of science behind it, and men obviously will relate to this a little more closely than women, but men generally like to have as much privacy as possible, even when you're standing at a bank of urinals with a bunch of other guys. So if you come in and there's 5 of them, the tendency, guys tend to be lazy too, so they'll take the first one. At least then there's a wall here. Right? So you don't have anybody there, so chances are you'll be private for a while. And then the next guy will go into urinal 5, and then 3, but the next guy is a problem because, in fact, there are only 2 slots left and you're going to be beside people. So there's actually a lot of math going into what is the best way, because what if you have more than 5? You might have 17 urinals.
Right.
How do you arrange people arriving so that they all have as much privacy as possible for as long as possible? But I have noticed they're starting to put up little barriers, you know, little guards, I don't know what you'd call them, separation little things, so that they're recognizing that this is an issue.
Okay, this is enlightening to me that I wasn't familiar with.
You thought it was easy.
I thought it was easy.
It's not easy.
It isn't. There is a pattern of science there. Okay, and The Science of Why 2, answers to questions about the universe, the unknown, and ourselves, and it takes place at Chapters in Shaughnessy, where you can meet Jay and find out more tonight at 7 p.m. Are you able to answer the question why the sky is blue in approximately 20 seconds?
20 seconds. So sunlight gets bounced around by molecules in the air, and if the sun's behind you and you're looking this way, the blue you see are those is that part of the spectrum that's gotten bounced around and bounced back to your eyes instead of sailing right through the atmosphere.
Okay, and further to that question, why the sky turns colors as the sun sets, you can find it in the book along with much more. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Andrew Schultz, did you connect more with the why the sky is blue or how to pick the right urinal?
Well, 50-50. Column A, column B.